Donald Trump goes on Fox News today, and of course, Fox News attacks him. I don't know who this journalist is. He should be fired immediately. I have a question. When Trump goes on Fox News and gets treated like the enemy, which he always does, by the way, do you ever see Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, any Democrat go on ABC, NBC, any liberal news station and have their own so-called people attack them? Never. This only happens to Trump, where he gets attacked by everybody. Let's jump into the video. This guy makes me sick. He should be fired.
Thank you very much.
I've spoken out about the unethical editing of the Kamala Harris interview by 60 Minutes.
Terrible.
But you go a step further and you say CBS should lose its license. Why?
Sure. Well, I've never seen anything like it. She gave a...
All right, let's stop right there. I have to. He's like, I spoke out about the unethical editing by CBS. And he's like mad at Trump. You said that CBS should lose their license. Well, you tell me what should happen. So there should be no punishment? Is that what you're saying? You're a journalist. You're supposed to have ethics. You're supposed to feed the American people truth, honesty. You're supposed to have ethics and integrity. Obviously, they broke every rule in journalism, and this idiot interviewer is like, oh my God, you took it a step further, Trump. You want them to lose their license. Another tool bag working at Fox News.
horrible, incompetent answer on a news program. It's not an entertainment program. They call it news. They say it's a #1 news program. And so she gives an answer that shows that she's dumb or incompetent or something wrong with her. It's so bad that the people at CBS say, we're not going to do a little editing, like the word the, make it there, something. You understand? They take the whole ridiculous answer out, and it was a long answer, and replace it with a much shorter answer that she did having to do with a totally different subject, which also didn't make sense, but it wasn't as incompetent.
They
don't do that with me.
The head of the FCC says we would never yank a license because a politician didn't like his or her coverage.
Well, this isn't a politician. This is nothing.
Who is this effing idiot? He just said at the beginning of the video, I spoke out about the unethical editing, but doesn't think there should be any consequences to ABC, NBC's actions when they do stuff like this. Why do you work at Fox News? Because you sound just like a Democrat. Oh, you know what? Break the law. Do whatever you want. There's no consequences. This idiot needs to be fired.
Wait a minute. She gave an answer. They took the answer.
I've been critical of it.
Listen to this.
But there should be no...
took, just for your audience, you know about it.
All right.
They took the answer out in its entirety, and they put a completely different answer in that makes her look like she's normal, okay, which is about the best you're going to do. And I said, I think it's the worst thing she's done. Now, what we're doing is we're going to subpoena their records because we want to see how much else did she do. And I can tell you, I've done 60 Minutes many times. Mm-hmm. And they do with me different. They take sentences out. In other words, I'm more honored by that. But I'll have a paragraph that is a great paragraph, and they'll make it less good by just taking things out. But that's different. That you can sort of say they want to make the program shorter. You know, they always say, well, we want to shorten it up. They take a great paragraph and, they make it okay. But with her, I never knew anyone would do this. They took the whole thing out and they put a whole new thing in. I've never seen anything. I think it's the biggest scandal I've ever seen for a broadcaster. In 60 Minutes, no, I think 60 Minutes, I think it should be taken off the air, frankly.
You posted this.
And by the way, 60 Minutes, they also, when I had an argument with Leslie Stone, now very famous, about the laptop, she said it was Russia, but I never got an apology.
You posted the following. Kamala should be in.
Do you see how he just ignores what Trump said? It's one of the biggest scandals in American history, accusing a president of the United States in being involved with Russia, paying him off or Russia corrupting him. And this idiot journalist, if you even want to call him that. Oh, next question. I don't care anything about that. No big deal. Turn the page. Just like Trump's The assassination attempt on Trump, oh, no big deal. You try to kill a ex-sitting president, oh, turn the page. Who cares? It's just Donald Trump. Fox News, you're a total joke at this point.
Investigated and forced off the campaign, and Joe Biden allowed to take back his rightful place. Investigated for what?
Well, it depends what you're talking about. Are you talking about 60 Minutes?
No, these are your words, so
Well,
I'm
no,
asking you.
let me tell you. They should look into it. Investigate. I'm investigated all the time. I'm the most investigated human being in history. They should investigate her. Look, on 60 Minutes, they say it was her campaign that forced them to do that. So certainly that should be investigated.
It sounds like you missed Joe Biden.
No, I think Joe Biden.
Wow, man. Have you ever seen anything like this in the history of politics where Trump is supposed to be on a Trump-friendly newswork and this idiot, this worm, this weasel, this spineless communist turd treats Trump like this? It's a disgrace. And for all you, I don't like the way that Trump talks. If you got treated the way Trump gets treated 24 hours a day, 365 days a year by every media station, by every political opponent, by every assassin, you'd be in the fetal position crying like a baby. You make me sick. Nobody could handle the garbage that Trump has to put up with better than Trump. There's not a person on the planet could deal with these types of attacks as good as Donald Trump. He handles it like a true professional. Nobody else in the history of politics has ever been attacked like Donald Trump.
I'm not a fan of Joe Biden, and I think he might have done better than her. I mean, if you take a look at the polls now, I mean, I can't tell you exactly, but it looks like I'm winning and winning pretty easily, but we'll see. You have to get out the vote. But no, I think what they did to Joe Biden was a threat to democracy, to use their term. He had 14 million votes. They went into his office. He had a debate with me. He didn't do well. His poll numbers went down. And that's okay. That can happen. And they went in and they said, you're not running anymore. We're taking it away from you. They took away the presidency of the United States. I don't even like using the word coup because a lot of people don't exactly understand what a coup is. They took away.
But nobody ran against the vice president.
Excuse me. They took away the presidency and they handed it to, well, nobody ran because the whole establishment.
Who is this clown? Like, is he kidding me right now? You're making excuses. They say Democrats call Trump a threat to democracy. And because Joe Biden's poll numbers are low, Nancy Pelosi, Obama, Kamala Harris told Joe Biden, step down. We could do this the easy way or the hard way. And this idiot journalist doesn't think that's a coup or doesn't think anything's wrong with that, doesn't think it's a threat to democracy, but he has an issue with Trump. Needs to be fired.
It did it as a whole. The Democrat Party did. When you saw that, you've never seen anything like that. He won she was in the primary. She was one of like 22 people. There were a lot of people.
Last time, yeah.
She was the first one to get out because she did so badly. All of a sudden, she's running. So I'm not saying from my standpoint. I'm saying from his standpoint. He's a very angry man. In fact, I think he probably likes me more than he likes her, but he's a very angry man right now.
Let me ask you about Joe Scarborough, because on Bill Maher's show, he said his people, meaning your people, have said they're going to arrest my producers.
Oh, nobody said that. Look, Joe's a sick puppy. I know him well. I used him beautifully. I dropped him because I thought he was very unethical, actually. But I dropped him. But I used him for 2016. And I do it from my apartment. I wouldn't even have to go in. I'd do phone calls, and I did them almost sometimes on a daily basis.
Why do you say that?
And then everyone's because I watch him and what he says about me. What he says is so bad. And you have to understand. Now, I was friendly with him and with Mika, but at a certain point, and it doesn't matter why, but I didn't want to do it anymore with them. And they're not too happy about it. No, but he says a lot of things like that. I think they're unethical, but who knows?
I want to drill down on this question of retribution against your political opponents, because you've opportunities to walk that back. And my question is this: are you prepared to say now that you will not use law enforcement to punish or prosecute your political opponents?
Excuse me. That's what they're using on me.
Okay, so your
Well, wait a
stance is
minute.
that they started it.
Before you start this.
Yeah, I got it.
Howie, that's what they're using on me. I've got DAs. I've got everybody. They look at me. There's never been anything like this. The biggest case was the one down in Florida, and I beat it 100%. I won the case because we had number one, a brilliant judge, and a judge that moved rather rapidly, and I won the case. By the way, Biden had almost the same case, but he didn't have the Presidential Records Act because he wasn't the president. Just to finish.
Anytime Trump tells the truth or facts on Democrats, right. Who cares? You know what? Next question. Turn the page. Like, is this idiot? He's just a worm. He's a weasel. Democrats have weaponized the entire justice system against Donald Trump, and this moron idiot thinks there should be no consequences whatsoever. Everybody could just be corrupt against Trump, and Trump can't even hire an outside counsel to investigate it and stop the corruption, because if he did that, he'd be called a dictator. So this is an absolute disgrace, and this piece of garbage from Fox News needs to be fired immediately.
And he got off on the basis that he's incompetent essentially that he's incompetent. And it was a strange ruling because they said, number one, he's incompetent, so he's not going to be, but the prosecutor actually said he's guilty, but he's incompetent. But they didn't say he couldn't be president anymore. That was his bigger problem for not being president. How can you not represent yourself in court because you're incompetent, but you're allowed to represent the United States of America? The whole thing is crazy. But no, they have weaponized government against me.
But are you willing to use the same tactics?
No, I don't want to do that because that's a bad thing for the country. I don't want to do that. I don't know who said. I haven't said that I would. But
for all the idiots, Democrats spreading this lie that Trump will go after his political opponents, blah, 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 and weaponize the Justice Department, like Democrats, like Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Merrick Garland, Christopher Wray. Trump has already been president for 4 years. Did he go after any political opponents? Did he imprison any of them? No, he didn't. Did he go after Hillary Clinton for all her garbage lies? No, he didn't. It's just nothing but complete garbage. Even from Fox News, Trump can't get a break.
They have done it. I've got attorney generals, DAs. They're all right. You take a look in Atlanta.
You're heavily investigated. Yeah.
They went and met with them. It's all coming out of the Justice Department. They have done something never done in this country before. Now, it's been done in a lot of other countries, third world countries, banana republics, but never done. So when you ask that question, you really have to start by saying, well, they've done it to you. No, I'm not looking to do it to them at all, because that is they have set a very bad precedent, however.
You talk about the enemy within. There's enemies, America's enemies outside. The enemy within is a pretty ominous phrase if you're talking about other Americans.
I think it's accurate. I think it's accurate.
Who are you talking about?
And,
the enemy?
I heard that. They say, oh, the enemy.
Is this guy kidding me? Kamala Harris has let a border invasion happen. 22 million illegals have entered this country, murdering, sexually assaulting people, bringing drugs, fentanyl, and gangs. And somehow this idiot moron from Fox News can't figure out that that's not an enemy from within. Let's just stick to that one thing, the border. Joe Biden's policies regarding inflation. Joe Biden giving, every time Zelensky comes to America, we hand him $1 trillion. But this idiot from Fox News can't figure out that that's an enemy from within. This is all done to try to make Trump look bad.
On the outside, you have Russia, you have China, you have a lot of different groups. If you have a smart president, they can be easily handled. I handled them. We had no wars. We had no wars. The only thing I had was ISIS, and I defeated them in like record time. They were gone.
Yep.
But I started no wars. The outside people, the so-called enemies, if they're enemies, and they might not be enemies, if you have a smart president, they can be handled. But when you have people investigating my campaign, when you have people, they spied on my campaign, how you understand that. That's been proven. but they spy on your campaign.
It's amazing. Every time Trump brings up something that Democrats did that is clearly against the law, a threat to democracy, and something that an enemy from within would do, the journalist, it's like, who cares? Next question. Doesn't say anything. Doesn't talk about it. Doesn't ask more questions. Doesn't have any remarks. Oh, turn the page. No big deal. You did it to Trump. Who cares?
The Russia hoax was all made up, and now it's acknowledged that it was made up. All of these different things. You have the 51 different agents saying it was from Russia, and now they all say it wasn't from Russia. Okay, so we were lying. Many other things, many. I could go order. You just don't have enough time. But what they've done is so terrible.
It's not that he doesn't have enough time. He doesn't care because he's a Democrat plant trying to make you look bad.
Heard of anything like this? Adam Shifty Schiff. He's a crooked guy. He's a crooked politician, 100%. And he's going to be a senator now. Can you believe it?
But again, he's a political opponent of yours.
He's not.
An enemy.
No, he's a.
Oh my
Of
God.
course, he's an enemy. He's an enemy.
Oh my God. How could you say such a thing? They're enemies from within. That's a political opponent. Oh my God. Like, what a coward. What a worm. What a weasel. What a turd. I mean, that's just basically, I could go as far with the language because I don't want to get banned from YouTube. But is this guy kidding me? Oh my God, you're calling them an enemy from within. How dare you? It's a political opponent. Because that's exactly what they are. That's exactly what Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Christopher Wray, Merrick Garland, Alejandro Mayorkas, the lowlife, Kamala Harris, that's exactly what they are. And you know that by their policies and by their actions. It's not like you're just making up some, mythical lie that you just grabbed out of thin air. All you have to do is look at their policies and actions, and you would know they're not a friend to the United States of America. But that's too much for this idiot journalist to handle.
He wanted to put my son in jail. And my son didn't even know what he was talking about. He wanted to put my son in jail on a scam that he made up called Russia. He, Hillary Clinton, and a group of people made up a scam. And they came out of a room and they said, Donald Trump Jr. will be going to jail over this. And my son called me, he said, what did I do? He knew nothing about Russia. It had nothing to do with him. Think of how bad you have to be when you say you're going to put any son, not just, a president's son, but any son, you're going to put somebody in jail on a scam that you knew was made up by you. That's an enemy from within. That is a threat to democracy. These are bad people. We have a lot of bad people. But when you look at Shifty Schiff and some of the others, they are, to me, the enemy from within.
You know why this weasel journalist can't relate to that, Your Excellence? Because this weasel probably can't even give his son a hug or something. That's why he can't relate to a real man saying that you go after my children who did absolutely nothing wrong, so you're an enemy from within. But this weasel journalist, he can't understand that. He probably won't even buy his kid a pair of sneakers his first day of school because he's such a lowlife.
I think Nancy Pelosi is an enemy from within. She lied. She was supposed to protect the Capitol. She said that to her daughter just recently. It was found on the tape from her daughter, who's a documentary maker. She said, this is my responsibility. She admitted it. But I offered her 10,000 National Guard troop, anything she wanted. No, but she didn't
want to hear it.
Take them. She should have taken them. And you wouldn't have had January 6th as we know it. By the way, if she took 500 people, you wouldn't have had it, let alone 10,000.
Sure. So you actually give me a segue into my next question.
Oh, yeah, sure. Who cares? Oh, it doesn't matter that you try to stop January 6th, Donald. We don't care. We're going to blame it on you anyway. Yeah, sure. Whatever, Don. Just be quiet. We're going to go to the next question. Blah, blah, blah. Any journalist that was worth their salt, whether they were liberal or conservative, knows if you did any research, that's the truth. He knows it's the truth. Won't elaborate on it, won't let him talk more, won't affirm it like you're absolutely right if that If Nancy Pelosi would have accepted those troops, it never happens. You would have never got blamed. The journalist does nothing to try to make Trump look good. Oh, no. Oh, you're telling the truth? Let's turn the page. We got to make you look as bad as possible. You know what, Donald? When you go for these interviews, maybe you should have me in the room with you so I can make sure everything goes down in a fair way. I don't have to even talk. Just my presence alone, this type of garbage wouldn't go on.
And I do have to say for the record that the spying accusation is in dispute. I know you don't believe that.
What accusation?
The spying accusation, but
I don't think it's in dispute. Obama and Biden spied on my campaign. It was a long time ago. We're talking about the previous campaign. Maybe they're doing this campaign too.
Is this guy kidding? It's been proved. If you watch the Senate hearings, they talk about it all the time, that Obama spied on the Trump campaign in congressional hearings on the Senate floor. They've spoken about it multiple times. Who cares? Turn the page, right? But he'll sit there. I'm a good guy, right? All the good guy garbage, right? Piece of garbage.
But so far, it doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah, look at his
We were
face.
using boom bikes at his request. Just to clarify, 60 Minutes showed a promo clip of Vice President Harris giving one answer to a question on another show and then broadcast a different answer to the same question. Nancy Pelosi says she never received a National Guard offer from Trump on January 6th, though he was involved in some National Guard discussions in earlier days. When we come back, Donald Trump on the...
You know what, this loser, this weasel loser, they got Nancy Pelosi on tape with her daughter in the car saying, Nancy Pelosi saying, January 6th was all my fault. I should have just put the troops down there and it would have never have happened. To say that Kamala Harris's interview was fair journalism, he's a piece of garbage. Look at his face. He's a weasel. Weasel.
January 6th, and harsh criticism from two former generals he fired. And later, Bret Baier on his interview with Kamala Harris.
Hey, so there you have it. Once again, Trump gets treated like, some sanitation worker out in Arkansas somewhere. He doesn't get treated like the President of the United States. They treat him like garbage. It's a total joke. They have attacked this man, his family, his finances, his freedom, his life. And guess what? Democrats are involved, and so are Republicans. It's an absolute disgrace. Donald Trump is the only answer. Donald Trump 2024.